McMillan, to be followed by Gillian Mackay.
Thank you very much, Presiding Officer. Presiding Officer, I wanted to speak in today's debate because, as I've previously mentioned in this chamber, I've met with several of my constituents who have suffered with the horrors of transvaginal mesh. I've also spoken with and supported women who have travelled outside of Scotland to have the removal procedure carried out. And I think this unfortunately highlights the extent to which the relationship has broken down between some patients and also NHS Scotland when it comes to the issue of transvaginal mesh. The thought of travelling to the US to have surgery, whilst in excruciating pain, clearly will not be pleasant, yet some of our constituents have felt they've had no choice but to do that. And that's why I note the Scottish Government's motion, which states, and I'll quote this part, acknowledges the severe and painful complications endured by women after the implantation of transvaginal mesh and regrets that the trauma may have been exacerbated by initial service responses that doubted their lived experiences. Presiding Officer, some of the most harrowing conversations I've had as an MSP over the last 16.5 years have been with constituents who have suffered because of transvaginal mesh. Now, how any of these women could have been doubted is beyond me. Now, that said, I'm sure some will welcome that the Scottish Government is accepting that more could and should have been done to support women suffering from these terrible complications. I also welcome the Scottish Government's commitment to offer women a surgeon of their choice if mesh removal is considered appropriate, and that women who have paid privately to have mesh removal surgery have until the 31st of March 2024 to apply for reimbursement. Now, and it has been commented already regarding sometimes the length of time it takes to go through the paper process to get the money back. And it certainly it's not really an easy process, but the fact that that process is there, it is helping some women. Scotland is also the first country in the UK to reimburse women for private treatment that previously sought, which I genuinely believe is very much the right thing to do. Now, hindsight is always a great thing, and that said that we should always strive to ensure that we don't need to say in hindsight. Presiding Officer, too many lives have been impacted, too many women suffering at the hands of transvaginal mesh, and too many families and friends who have had to watch them suffer over the years. It was back in November 2019 that the former First Minister and Health Secretary met with women who had experienced complications after having had surgery for mesh implants. Now, following those meetings, the then First Minister confirmed that these women would be given an opportunity to raise their concerns and offered them a review of their case records. It then took until the 12th of February 2021 for the transvaginal mesh case record review to be introduced, which reported in June this year. Now, except, as I'm sure others will, that the COVID pandemic had a part to play in the length of time it took for that to actually happen. And it should have happened sooner. However, women across Scotland have continued to suffer, whilst others who may have had the removal surgery before now have been waiting for answers. I hope that recommendations published earlier this year will go some way to answering some of these questions. And the fact that the Scottish Parliament is again debating this subject demonstrates that this Parliament is listening, and we want to ensure that women get the treatment that they need to recover.
Daniel Johnson.
Member for giving way. And he's right, this isn't about hindsight. But the reality is that acknowledging recommendations is not enough. The reality is that for too many women, they're still in this dark, they still don't know what's happening, they're still in suffering. This is not in the past yet. Actually, we need action now, not just acknowledgement of action points in the report, which seems to be all that we're getting. Does he not recognise that point?
Stuart McMillan.
I do not disagree at all. At times I've spoken in debates like this in the past in the chamber. My comments are on the record, so if the member actually wants to go and have a look at them, he certainly can. Because this is still very much a today issue. It is not something purely about the past. Saying also, I met with women who actually have recovered, and I know that the removal surgery can actually help to give women their lives back. Now, and the contrast that I saw with some of these women has been absolutely stark. The pain, the suffering, and that they had before they actually had the operation, in contrast to what they've actually managed to what their lives are like now. 2 wee seconds. To what their lives are like now certainly was, it really was stark, and it was something I welcome, but it does not take away the mental challenges that they've had to endure for many, many years. Mr Carlow, I would normally take an intervention, but I'm run out of time. We should not lose sight of the fact that the work being done here certainly is welcome, but there's still that challenge for the NHS. Presiding Officer, in conclusion, more work is very much required, but I do welcome the Minister's comments regarding the 21 recommendations. And we cannot change the past, but we do have an opportunity to right some wrongs and implement changes that will have a lasting positive impact. Presiding Officer, consistently in this Parliament, we've heard that MSPs should listen to the clinicians, as they are the experts. And this is the case in many disciplines and many health debates, but we've heard that over the years. In the case of the women suffering from transvaginal mesh issues, I'm glad that these women did not listen to the clinicians, because they fought the system. And with that, I want to thank them for all the work that they have done, because they have pushed this particular issue to the fore consistently, and we all owe them a huge debt of gratitude. Thank you.
Thank you. And I call Gillian Mackay to be followed